All right, you are now tuned into the Rotated Views podcast. I am your host, Jimmylee Velez. I'm here with Gabe, Heck, and Renee. Silly Spoons. In this episode, we have special guest Renee Hanna. We cover topics that range from small business ownership, culinary arts, customer experience, effects of the coronavirus, and much more. We wrap the episode up with quotes from John Wooden and Theodore Roosevelt. Guys, if you're new, thank you for joining us. Don't forget to download and subscribe. We drop a new episode every Tuesday morning for your listening pleasure. Kicking things off, we want to first say thank you, Renee, for joining us. And we like to put out the disclaimer, since we've been doing these Zoom meetings, that there may be sound in the background because everyone's in their home setting. So there may be a kid in the background or a dog barking. Please forgive us, but we appreciate you guys sticking with us. With that being said, the quality of the sound is pretty good. Not up to par as our studio sound, but it is still pretty good. So thank you guys for bearing with us during these times. And we'll jump right in. So Renee, thank you for joining us. And for those of us who do not know who you are and what you do, let us know.
All right, thanks for having me. So I'm Renee Hanna. First and foremost, I'm a wife and a mom. I've been with my husband for 22 years. We've been married for 15, and we have 4 boys, 4 sons, ranging from 6 years old to 21 years old. So we are high school sweethearts. So we've been together since high school. And I'm also a high school teacher, and I am a business owner, small business owner. I own Silly Spoons that's located in Newtown Borough.
All right, cool. So Renee, so tell us a little bit about how you got started with Silly Spoons, or what made you want to get started with Silly Spoons?
So I have a background in education. I taught elementary school for 12 years, and then I made the change to high school. And I was able to get into the high school grade by getting an FCS certification, which is a Family Consumer Science certification. And that content area basically covers food, nutrition, childcare, finance, you kind of name it. It's like a broad content area that prepares kids for practical life and success in life. So I've always had an interest in working with children, and also had an interest in food. I grew up in a large Italian family, so Sunday night dinner is something that is really important to our family still to this day. So everything I've learned culinary-wise is from my family members, and, it was kind of self-taught. So Silly Spoons is combining both of my passions for working with young children and kind of bringing in the culinary spin and teaching them through the culinary arts.
All right, so explain the name Silly Spoons, right? And so obviously it's obviously geared towards kids. So explain how did you come up with that?
I kind of went back and forth with a couple of different names. I obviously like alliteration,
Yeah.
So I kind of settled. I wanted it to be fun and kind of appealing, but not really too traditional or straightforward. So I don't know. I kind of landed on that. My husband and my son helped me kind of go back and forth with different names. And that kind of was one that stuck, and we kind of went with it. Then my husband designed the logo, and then my son, with his graphic arts background, was able to digitalize the logo for us. So it kind of just came to be. So this is part of the logo with the smiley face spoons. So yeah, I kind of just wanted to be kid friendly and appealing and fun.
Yeah, no, it looks awesome. So what about the location, right? So now you're thinking, all right, I'm going to put all my background together, my passions together. We have a name, we have a logo. Now, what about how did location come about? I think you guys are in that area, but was there any specific choice into why specifically Newtown Borough?
So when we started was back in the fall of 2017. We were a traveling company, so I went around to different community centers. I held classes there. I used local grocery stores and even people's houses I did events at. So we were traveling for a while, and as the business kind of picked up, I needed my own space. So I was on the lookout kind of constantly, looking at things that popped up in different areas. And ideally, I did want to be in a borough. And So I live in Newtown Borough, and the space kind of came available, and I was lucky enough to get it. So it's kind of just fell in place for me.
And then explain a little bit about your current setup. So, the seating, if someone were to walk in there, what to expect.
So it's about 650 square feet, and it's a brightly colored, primary based colors, spoons on the walls, big spoons with smiley faces. Our tables are brightly colored, chairs are brightly colored. It's very kid friendly. So basically the setup is tables and chairs for the kids, and then we have 2 ovens and some sinks, and the kids basically work at the tables to measure and prepare the meals, and then we take them in and out of the oven. That's basically how it kind of works. But the space itself is very bright and friendly and energetic.
I love it. And then, so explain a little bit of how the process works, right? So if someone wanted to hold an event there, maybe a birthday party, or just like a little gathering, how would it work? Do they pick what they want when it comes to the meal that they're going to prep? Just explain a little bit how that goes.
Yeah, so we have some options for, so most of the events are birthday party events, but we also do events for Girl Scout troops. We also do fundraising for different organizations. So they basically have a menu to pick from. So they select, what they want it to do. And then we work with them on the number of kids that are coming and either any allergies or anything that has to be customized for their family or their guests. And then we kind of customize every event. Every event's unique and customized to the host.
So, and is there like a minimum or a maximum of how many kids can be there, and kind of explain also the age groups?
Yeah, so we have a pretty small space. So our maximum is 18 kids at a time. So the ages range from 5 to 12 for birthday parties, but we do take younger kids with their parents. We have like a You and Me class where they can come and cook and bake together and have an adult present with them. That's our classes that we run. But for birthday events, we kind of keep it at 5. We start at 5 years old.
And explain a little bit about your team. I know you have a couple little helpers to kind of get the process going and have the event flowing nicely. So explain a little bit about that.
Yeah, so basically I run all the behind the scenes, everything, the marketing, the website, the communication, the shopping for the events, everything like that. But I do have a few employees that come and help me during the event. So they help me come and set up the event. They help me instruct during the event and manage the kids, and then they help me clean up at the end. I'm typically not open on Sundays right now. We run events Friday night and then Saturday. And then during the week as needed, if anyone wants something during the week, like on the evening. But Sundays I kind of kept closed just for family time and my own time because I also am teaching full time.
So I was looking at your webpage. It's very comfy and cozy for like the kids. As of recent, since we've been in quarantine, my 9-year-old has been trying to bake everything under the sun. So she made pancakes today. I wasn't home. My wife was home. She made pancakes, and apparently they were good. I don't know. But she's just trying different things and going at it. So I think I'm going to have to tell my wife to take a look at your website to see if we can set something up for her birthday or something. Is there like an age limit for the kids? Because, I mean, she's 9, but I don't know.
We go up to 12. I have 9 is like the perfect age.
Really? Okay. Yeah, that's awesome.
Oh, so Renee, one of the things what I thought was pretty cool, I saw on your website, you explained that you're reinforcing math, reading, and science skills. Can you explain a little bit about how that works? While they're also having fun.
Yep. So every class or event that a kid comes to, they get a custom-made recipe page by me. So I basically take the recipe, I test it out first. I try to simplify it as best as possible, and I create recipes with pictures and step-by-step boxes to follow. So when they're going through that recipe, they're, working on their following directions, reading, and then, of course, they're measuring using fractions and math. And some of them don't even know I said, you're using math. They're like, yeah, like we did this in school. This is a fraction. I know this, So
that's cool.
It's fun to see, there's sometimes don't make that connection right away. And then, the science aspect is the baking powder and how it works as a leavening agent and rises their cupcakes and things like that. So we talk about the different chemical reactions in food.
That's awesome. And you know what it is too? There's something about having fun with math or reading or science, right? I was just having this conversation with somebody, we're explaining one of our favorite subjects was science, and mainly the lab portion of science, because you're actually physically doing something and it's disguising kind of, the lesson within the process, and all at the same time you're having fun. So it's a perfect combination, especially for kids. What do you do if there's, do you try to stick with a particular age group? So do you try to do all 9-year-olds, or if there's a 7-year-old and a 9-year-old, do you kind of try to just work it that way, the best that you can?
Yeah, so usually birthday parties are typically around the same age. Some will have some younger siblings come or cousins that are different ages, but typically they're about the same age. But believe it or not, having 5 and 10-year-olds in the same group works out really well.
Yeah.
They either separate themselves where they're sitting kind of at different tables, or they work with each other and they help each other. So it really does work out well. We kind of just gauge the room and gauge the group and see who needs a little more help and, who can kind of do it on their own. And if there's an older kid there to help them read or help them get through the directions, because we kind of take them step by step through every direction, and I demonstrate, and we give them the exact measuring cup that they need for each ingredient. So we're very organized and kind of routine with everything. So we kind of try to eliminate as many mistakes or measurement errors as much as possible. But it actually seems like it wouldn't work, but having a group with mixed ages really does work out pretty well.
So explain for, parents that may have a concern with, food allergies. What's your guys' approach on that?
So our whole facility is peanut and tree nut free, because that's a common, that like almost every single person that has an event tells me they can't have peanuts and tree nuts. Either it's their child or someone else in the class. So we typically don't use peanuts or tree nuts. And then any other allergy, we just kind of work with the parents and discuss options and kind of figure something out, and make it work for them. Baking is very easy to substitute things. So like for eggs, we would substitute applesauce, and it works the same way. So we just kind of work with the parents ahead of time and make those accommodations for them. Because we don't like anyone feeling left out either, or feel like they can't be involved.
All right, so summer's coming up. Explain a little about how summer camp works and the age group it serves.
So this will be the first year we're running summer camps at our location. So last year we ran them out of a community center. And since we had just opened this past August, it was kind of the end of the year. We didn't run our camps then. So this year will be our first year. Hopefully we'll still be able to run them. Still holding on to some hope. So they're AM and PM sessions. Our AM session is for a younger age group. So we're doing our 5 to 8-year-olds in the AM, and then we're doing a PM session for our 9 to 12-year-olds. Where we kind of like theme them so that they're fun and interesting. The 1 week is going to be dessert imposters, where we're going to basically make our desserts look like food items.
Oh, that's awesome.
Like a burger, a cupcake into a burger, and things like that.
That's fun.
Then we're doing breakfast, all different kinds of breakfast foods the next week. And then we will be doing around the world foods, learning about different cultures and bringing in different types of food.
Very cool.
Scratch.
So I know we kind of alluded to it, having the hope of, maybe even having summer camp this year. And it was kind of pointing towards everything that's going on with the coronavirus. And I know it's affected small businesses, across the nation. Obviously, one of them is, yourself. So explain a little bit about, how you're handling it, how things are going. Are you having to reschedule things? If you want to talk a little bit about how you've been affected in your business.
So right off the bat, since like March 13th, everything's pretty much been canceled. Some people said, we'll reschedule, but obviously at this point, nothing can be rescheduled yet. But a lot of cancellations. I have probably like 15 event cancellations at this point. We were averaging like 2 to 3 events per weekend, so we've lost a great deal of events. But as soon as this happened, I kind of thought like, all right, what can I do to engage families and kids, and what can I do to kind of give back? So before this happened, Zoom was not like a thing. I never even knew about Zoom. So,
Yeah.
I kind of jumped on the Zoom bandwagon and thought maybe I could do a virtual baking class, and we'll see like who signs up, and we'll just kind of go from there. So I put it out there, and I had 60 plus families sign up.
Whoa.
Wow. That's awesome. That's really good.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So I put it out there as a free event, but I asked for a donation to No Kid Hungry. So we were able to raise like over $600 for No Kid Hungry, and
Whoa.
That's cool.
We did a virtual muffin making. So I basically provided them with like a basic muffin recipe that I took them through step by step, and then they got to kind of put in their own, like create their own flavors and different fruit, different flavorings and things like that to create their own. And they sent me tons of pictures. They were so excited about what they made and what they put in their muffins, and it was such a huge success that I was like, wow, like maybe I can do something like this. So now we're offering virtual classes a couple times a week, and we're doing things like homemade pasta and different kind of baked goods, and just like easy. We're trying to keep recipes easy, things that like you would kind of have around your house, or so.
It's crazy too, because the way the whole shutdown happened, you had to start thinking outside the box. You had to start getting creative with how you're approaching business. But for you to even step out of the box and not only think a little bit differently and also utilize your platform basically to give back is crazy commendable. So that's awesome of you guys. That's pretty cool. Explain a little bit about how you do utilize social media, whether it's just to normal marketing strategies or just to kind of show the world what you have to offer.
So basically my main marketing tool is social media. I'm honestly not on it personally. I've never been on social media personally. So it was kind of new as a business to me. So Instagram, Facebook, without them, I don't know, if I would have the following I have today. I mean, I did gain a lot of my followers through word of mouth and families, friends of families kind of telling other people about me. But Instagram and Facebook have been like my main go-to marketing tool. Instagram, I try to keep families engaged and posting pictures of kids involved and actively in the kitchen and in action. And I try to kind of put out tips for families and go through recipes at home and show my own kids kind of cooking. And so it's a lot of kids. If you go on my Instagram or Facebook, you see a lot of kids making desserts and pizzas.
Absolutely. So explain a little bit about how you got started in the physical location, and how the surrounding businesses, are they supportive? Are they helping you, asking if you need help with anything? What has been your experience thus far?
Yeah, so I'm kind of removed a little bit from the heart of the borough. So I'm not surrounded by too many businesses, but the businesses that I am surrounded with have been very supportive. They asked to put my pamphlets in their shops, and they've been spreading word to their friends and family members that don't even live in the area. They've been coming to my location. And I am a part of a local business association that they've helped me organize a ribbon cutting for my grand opening, so they're a great resource for me, and have also been really supportive.
The way you see Silly Spoons moving and growing, what's your 2020 vision, right? Where do you want to see yourself in 3 to 5 years with the business and just the growth overall?
Well, I hope it to be my full-time job someday.
Definitely.
And I hope to kind of offer more variety in my classes, be open kind of during the week, running, daytime things for schools. And, it's kind of like there's an endless possibility of ways that I can go. And I kind of I'm hoping to keep moving forward and keep offering variety. And so I can keep having people come back to me excited to bring their kids and their grandkids.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think it's awesome too, because you'll get the hopefully maybe even the combination of how you got started as the mobile service, and then utilizing your your education background and possibly going into schools and having that. I just remember in elementary school, the way it was set up for us, we would have art class, we would have music class, whatever, but the teachers would come to us. As you can imagine, just having second graders or third graders, switch classes, so to speak, would probably be a little cumbersome. So the teachers would come to us, and I remember every time the art teacher would come, we would just I would get so excited. It was one of my favorite things. So, and I couldn't even imagine if we're doing anything with food, I would be so pumped up. So yeah, you're right. Actually, the possibilities really are endless, and it's fun and it's hands-on. I think it's very important for us to start implementing things like Silly Spoons into our education, just because everyone learns different. It wasn't until that point, the reason why I liked art so much was because I was a hands-on guy. I needed to show me how to fix this, and then I can do it the second time without you there. But if I'm just reading right out of a textbook, it's a little tougher for me than someone act like an instructor there, so to speak.
Yeah. So we are offering enrichment programs, and we are at one local elementary school. So we offer an enrichment program for them once a week, and we go to their school and we provide a small, it's not using the oven, but it's like a small non-baked kind of activity that they can do with food. So that's kind of how being a teacher and then moving to high school and teaching culinary in high school and seeing how excited kids got, even high schoolers, about food and cooking. And then I thought to myself, there's nothing around here locally for elementary age kids, and they would love this.
Yes.
Everyone's like, you are so brave. How do you do it? You're taking 18 kids and making this with 18 kids, But, I don't, advertise myself as like a culinary expert, but I am an expert in managing children, engaging children, and I know, how to kind of manage that group. And not many people can do that. So, I just see how their faces light up when they make something. They're like so proud of themselves, and, their confidence. Parents are amazed at the confidence that they show. And they're like, my kids can do that? Like, what? I didn't know my kids could do that. And a lot of parents are hesitant to let their kids do things because, number one, they make a mess. And, they could get hurt, or they're not really realizing their true ability, because kids are more capable than their parents or adults think that they are, even at 5 years old.
Yeah.
So it's just nice seeing how the reactions of the parents and the kids, and how excited they get when they make their own food and they decorate their own cupcake.
Yeah, no, absolutely. There's something I genuinely believe we're made to create. And even on a scale when it comes to making a dessert or anything with food, it's that child's creation, and it's something that they themselves can be proud of. They did it on their own, and they're it's just, and they have the ability to show it off, and they're probably super excited to show their parents what they just made and their new creation or whatever it is. So I think you're hitting on so many levels of the way a child's mind operates. And if you already have, obviously, you're combining your gift and the ability to not only teach them culinary things, but also being able to manage them and keep them in a creative mindset for a specific period of time. Because again, that's a gift. That's not everyone can do that. So you come to my house, it's going to be wacky spoons. It won't be no silly spoons over here. It'll be a disaster. But yeah, no. So and honestly, services like what you have is seriously needed. And like I said, I'm coming from the heart because I know that's how I learn. So I know there's kids out there that absolutely love that stuff. And there's nothing better than bringing home, well, I know for myself, anything I created in like elementary school or whatever grade school, I'd be pumped to show my parents or at least my mom. And even if it probably wasn't like the best looking thing, she made it seem that way. You know what I mean?
My one daughter, Lainey, she went to school, Holy Family, and there was a after school class that she signed up for. There was cooking. It was somebody that would come in to help them. And well, I would pick her up and she would have multiple different cookies and she would say, Dad, I saved this one for you. And I made it. And she was just excited just to bring home cookies and little cheesecakes and stuff like that. So now, like I said earlier today, she made pancakes today. And every day I've been working from home and she's been making milkshakes for everyone with chocolate chip morsels or whatever the case may be. And she's just excited to hand everyone a cup of this milkshake that she made. So, I mean, I can see how excited kids can get because she gets really excited making her own food and stuff. So I definitely need to, like I said, I got to talk to my wife to see if we can get something set up at your location. I think it'll be a great time.
And speaking of which, switching gears a little bit, but kind of, Heck alluded to, managing, the kids, the family. But with that being said, you have, 4 boys of your own. You're married, you have a husband. Can you explain a little bit how you manage all this? Because you're hitting on every level here.
Yeah, so I'm very routine. I'm very structured. I kind of stay to a routine. I try to.
Yeah.
I'm very organized. I'm a list maker. I'm a planner.
Nice.
So those personality traits have definitely helped me. I'm just good at multitasking a lot at once and kind of still managing to keep myself sane and keep family life. And, when you enjoy doing what you're doing, it doesn't really feel like you're working. So I kind of look at it that way. But if it wasn't for my husband, I don't think I would be where I am today. He is like my number one cheerleader, supporter. He's always been behind all my crazy ideas. This is the one that finally stuck. But this wasn't my first. I've had lots of ideas over the years. He's my number one supporter. He's been kind of there. He's a great dad, helps out at home, picks up where he can. So without him, I don't know where I would be. And the support of my family, my own father, physically helped me get the place together, the location together, and my in-laws and, like everyone, my siblings have just been so supportive of me. And then our oldest son, Christian, who's the graphic design, who has a graphic design background, helped me with like my marketing and, putting my brand together and kind of like working on my recipe formats and things like that. Everything I need to do digitally, he kind of helps me. So it's been a little bit of everyone's kind of effort together. That has kind of got me where I am today.
Yeah, no, absolutely. That's awesome. Family support is huge, especially when it comes into support to, living out your dreams or pursuing something. Because guess what? It takes a lot of guts to go after what you really want in life. And there's nothing better or, there's no greater feeling than having that family support. So that's awesome. And yeah, we had Christian on the Rotated Views podcast. It's Found Creative. And your husband were on. So that was cool. So
I guess you see the shirt.
Yeah, Heck has the Found shirt on. All right, so wrapping things up, what's your recommendation for anyone who's out there thinking they want to start, a new business and go on a new venture? What advice do you have for them?
I guess I would say don't be afraid to step out of your comfort zone, because that probably has been the hardest thing for me. I'm pretty introverted naturally and kind of like to play it safe. I'm a private person personally, so it's been hard to kind of put myself out there. Even recording videos of myself making food and kind of putting it out there has been scary to me. And stepping outside of my comfort zone has been a challenge. But if I don't challenge myself, I know I'm not going to grow and change and kind of get where I want to go. So I would say don't be afraid to step out of your comfort zone. And, failure is kind of scary sometimes, but I wouldn't have met the people that I've met or had the opportunities that I've been presented if I hadn't stepped out of my comfort zone and got a little bit uncomfortable. So I guess that's kind of advice that I would give to someone.
That's awesome. Well said. Thank you for that. So if anyone was trying to reach you guys, how would they either book an event, or what's your social media handles so they can get in contact with you?
So we're at Silly Spoons, Instagram and Facebook, Silly Spoons. We also have a website, sillyspoons.com. They can email, message us on Facebook, Instagram. We also have a phone number that they can reach us at. Everything's on the website, or everything's kind of put out there on all of our platforms. So,
bam, there you have it. Sillyspoons.com. Take it a visit. All right, so we like to close things out with quotes, and the first one is by John Wooden. Don't let what you can't do stop you from what you can do. And the second one by Theodore Roosevelt. Do what you can with what you have where you are. Silly Spoons. In this episode, we have special guest Renee Hanna. We cover topics that range from small business ownership, culinary arts, customer service, effects of the coronavirus, and much more. We wrap the episode up with quotes from John Wooden and Theodore Roosevelt.
Awesome. Guys, thanks again for joining us. The Rotated Views podcast was produced for self-development purposes. Huge shout out to our sponsors. This episode is brought to you by the Blessed Lifestyle brand. That is BL3SSED.com. Also sponsored by The Motivation Files Unleashed. This motivational mixtape will be your fuel for success. Available on all platforms. Guys, don't forget to visit the website, JimmyleeVelez.com. Follow us on Facebook and Instagram at Rotated Views. If you have any inquiries or questions, email us at info@JimmyleeVelez.com. On behalf of myself and the rest of the crew, we wish you massive success. Stay blessed.